Hey, good morning, guys. It's Wednesday, April 23rd. I hope you're having a good week. Hump Day, Wednesday. And you know what Wednesday means? Yeah, Wednesday wrap up. Wednesday night, tonight at 7 p.m. Central. Z-Man, the infamous Z-Man, and myself, we're going to talk about the WQ, the woman question. So it should be a lot of fun. Every week it gets better. So be sure to turn into that. And as always, during the day at 11 a.m. Central, I have the Ramsey Paul show. You need to see that too. It's a way to connect every day, get up on the news, and we have a lot of fun. And last night, I had a great roundtable with my Substack supporters. It's a great community. Again, I encourage you guys to sign up to my Substack. It's just the amount of money you spend on a tip at a restaurant for the month. I really do appreciate it. So, today there was this ad I saw on Twitter, and it was complaining about, or it was half of the Haiti's population are facing high levels of hunger. The situation in Haiti is a public health emergency, and so is like a little black kid. The image you've seen all the time, the poor starving black kid. And this is not new. This is not new to Haiti. They've always been in an emergency. Strangely, Japan, which is another island, never has these problems, but Haiti's always dysfunctional. And there's reasons for that. So, but the question is, what's the solution? And let me back up a little bit. In the 1960s, there was a famous experiment in Oklahoma. It was with a chimpanzee named Lucy. Lucy was born, and this couple, they're professors at Oklahoma University. They thought, let's do an interesting experiment, because chimpanzees and humans, we share 99% of the DNA, right? So is the difference between chimpanzees and humans, is it genetic? Or is it mostly just conditioning and social? Obviously, there's some genetic differences, but we're kind of closer than we are apart. So they had the idea, well, what if it was sort of the blank slate idea, is the environment makes a big difference, because usually chimpanzees are in the jungle swinging on trees. But what if they were raised as a human? They had diapers, and they were raised with other children. And in fact, they had another child they raised a chimpanzee with. So they raised Lucy as a human being. And well, it was an interesting show. If you watch the documentary about it, it was very sad, really, because Lucy ended up not being human, because Lucy's a chimp. It could never be human. But it lost what it meant to be a chimpanzee too, because it wasn't trained as a chimpanzee. And chimpanzees, if you don't know, they can be very dangerous animals, and they couldn't deal with a chimpanzee anymore, because chimpanzee gets upset, it'll eat your face off, like literally. So they try to release Lucy in Africa, but Lucy didn't know how to act like a chimp, and the other chimps didn't like her, and Lucy ended up dead because the other chimps wouldn't accept Lucy. So it was a really cruel thing to take an animal and try to make it like a human, because it just doesn't work. It's not fair to the animal. It creates a dangerous situation for the humans. I mean, it's cute when it's just a little baby chimp. They're a little cute baby chimp, but when they get big, they can be very violent and dangerous, very violent. In some ways, they're more dangerous than tigers. They're very unpredictable, and they're pretty intelligent. They have big fangs. So it was a disaster. And in some ways, I see the wisdom of, we got to be careful with that. And I thought of Star Trek. I used to be a big fan of Star Trek in the 70s when I was a kid. And in Star Trek, they had the most important law they had was the Prime Directive. And the Prime Directive I'm reading here was General Order 1. It prohibited interference with the natural development of pre-warp civilizations. Warp speed was their science fiction way to go faster than the speed of light. It's not possible, but science fiction. It mandates non-intervention in internal affairs, cultural evolution, or conflicts of alien societies, prioritizing their right to self-determination. So the idea is until a group of people becomes sophisticated enough to create space travel going faster than light, we shouldn't interfere with the development. They're just not ready for it. Just like the Lucy wasn't ready to be a human because there's a chimpanzee, some alien cultures in the Star Trek universe, maybe one day they'll get to the point where they can be part of the Grand Federation. But until then, you just got to leave them alone. Even though you may feel sad for them, want to help them out, they have a right to develop their own way. And I think this has been a big problem Europeans have had, and North Americans in general, with a lot of Africa, and Haiti is mostly Africans, is we pulled a lot of these people out of really the Stone Age and thrust them into a modern civilization. It'd be like pulling people in the Star Trek universe before they're in the warp space travel age. And it really messes with the development. And I know people want to, oh, we feel sorry for the Haitians or the Ethiopians or whatever. But the best thing I think we can do is to leave them alone and let them develop naturally, if they will, or if they don't, they don't. Then that's up to nature. But that's something they've got to do. And I don't think it's fair to them. And it's not fair to us. It's not fair to us to bring them in, to dump them in some small town in Ohio. They're not compatible. And it's not really fair to them to try to mess with their development. They got to figure this stuff out, right? Like the Japanese figured all this out on their own, and other cultures do. And that should have been our policy with Africa. Sadly, we didn't do that. It was horrible. We should have left them alone to develop whatever. Some people think that if they were allowed to develop, they would be Wakanda. They would have flying pyramids going faster than the speed of light. Yeah, maybe, right? But they should have been allowed to develop that way. And we can't redo the past, but we can look to the future and say, well, no, Haiti needs to figure this out on their own, right? Japan figured it out. Korea figures it out. Haiti needs to figure this out on their own. There's no white people running anything there in hundreds of years. They got to figure this out. And if they can't, they can't. But we can't allow sad pictures for us to get involved because it really messes with their culture development. And I think they have a right to develop in their own way, in ways that may seem harsh to us and cruel and sad and all those type of emotions. But we got to really put that behind us and understand it's for the best. That no, we don't give them handouts or money. We allow them to develop naturally. We got to have our own Prime Directive when society's at a certain primitive level, like Haiti is, or other societies. We just got to let them be. In some cases, we do this literally. There's a island, I think in the Indian Ocean, very small, versus Stone Age people, and you're not allowed to have any contact with them. And I think that's good, because those people need to live in their own society. And it may be sad by our point of view because maybe they have hunger, they can't figure things out, they die of infection, but it's not right for us to go into that Stone Age society and pull them into our society when they haven't evolved naturally their own path. And I think this has created a lot of problems that we're seeing in this country and Europe, where we pulled people out of a very primitive state and they're not adapted to it, and they have troubles fitting in, and it's violent, and it's not fair for us, and it's not really fair for them. So while it may seem harsh, I think we need to leave Haiti be, and they need to figure their own way, and nature will take care of it one way or the other. But if we keep sending food and charity and all this, it's just going to perpetuate the problem, because they have more and more kids. And then what do we do with them all? And then, we pour them into this country, and then they're not compatible. And it's not fair to us. It's not fair to them. So we need to, if I was president, I would say, in honor of Star Trek, we're going to have our own Prime Directive. And based on certain things, like if a society hasn't even invented a wheel, like sub-Saharan Africa, they never had the wheel or the written language. We shouldn't interfere with that. Let them be, let them do their things. Don't give them advanced technology. Let them figure it out. Don't bother them, don't molest them, let them develop as they naturally will. And don't feel sorry or cry for them, because of the sad pictures. They need to go through that like everyone else did. Talk to you guys later.